Hi, this is Fred from LeanLaw. In this screencast, I'll show you how to track expenses and how to invoice them, and then also how to use standard expenses. To track expenses, all you need to do is go to the Expenses tab. Then you click the green button, pick a client and a matter, add description, and an amount. Click Save. Now this page will show a list of all the open expenses that you have. Let's add another one. Let me save it. You can click on an expense after you've put it in to edit it, or you can delete them by clicking delete. Once you're ready to do invoicing, you go to the billing tab as usual, and you can see the total expenses for this matter shown in the table here. When you click on it, you now have an option to include both the billable time and expenses on an invoice, or you can just include the time without expenses or the expenses without the time. In this case, I'm just going to pick both and create an invoice. You can see here that the invoice now has two sections, one called services and one called expenses. The services section contains your hours and fixed fees, and the expense section contains the expenses. And you have subtotals for each of those sections. And that's it. We can send it to QuickBooks. And once it's created, let's go over and look at it in QuickBooks. And here we can either email it to the client or print it, and we're done. Let me show you how to use standard expenses. When I go to the to add an expense, if it's something I do often, let's say I have a standard filing fee for something, and it's $50, I can click the Save as Standard button over here. This brings up a form with a label and then an invoice description that'll go on the invoice. We can just click Save here to keep that and save. And then next time we add an expense for this client or another one, we now get a drop down here of standard expenses that we can pick from, and the description and amount is already filled in. You can also go to your user settings and rates, where you will have your hourly rates and fixed fee rates as usual, and then under the fixed fees you'll have the standard expenses listed here. So you can add them over here or do further editing. Just be aware that standard expenses are exposed to everyone in the firm. They're not just for you, so when you add something in here, it'll be visible to everyone. That's it on expenses. Go out and start tracking some expenses right away, and that way you won't forget by the time you're billing the client.